Good morning, everyone. This is your ICBA AM news for September 6, 2023. We're going to talk interest rates, Pierre Poilievre, and LNG. I'm Jordan Bateman, VP Communications for the Independent Contractors and Businesses Association. Breaking news this morning, as the Bank of Canada has announced there will be no interest rate hike today, and you can almost hear the exhale of relief from a legion of homeowners, prospective home buyers, and home builders as they all desperately needed this interest rate to at least stay the same and preferably come down. Bank of Canada kept it at 5%, but hinted strongly that it may go up again in November. Now, this comes on the heels of a bunch of analysis that's been done. Monex Canada, an analyst, said last weekend that the national economy, measured by GDP, actually shrank by 0.2% last quarter. Quote, "We'd anticipated to see signs of a slowdown in Canada, but these figures were shockingly weak," the analyst wrote. A Desjardins economist was even bolder. He says the GDP slip means no more interest rate hikes and maybe even a rate cut next year. Wouldn't that be great for homeowners who are strapped as they deal with ever increasing interest rates? Now, I don't know about that, but it certainly seems like we're starting to turn the corner on interest rates. Meanwhile, Remax Canada has said the housing market will continue to soften this fall as millennials and Gen Z buyers are interest rated out of getting into the market. So many cross purposes going on with federal policy. They say they want to make housing less expensive, but at the same time, they make borrowing more expensive, which then prices people out of the market. Inflation taking away the purchase power of your dollar. There's a lot to be fixed federally. And speaking of federally, federal conservative leader and front runner to be the next prime minister, Pierre Poilievre, he's actually in Quebec City this week for the Conservative Party of Canada convention. He's starting to push his plan to supercharge home building across the country. Let me tell you, no one does better political videos than Pierre Poilievre, and his stuff on housing has been outstanding. Idea one for Poilievre: hammer municipal halls who are slow to permit or outright hostile to new housing by withholding federal dollars from them. As much as 15% of federal grants he wants to hold back from these municipal halls, the gatekeepers, as he calls them, who prevent homes from being built. Idea two: pre-zone and pre-permit high-density housing anywhere rapid transit is built with a federal contribution. And if cities go all in on density around those stations, actually up the federal grants to them. The old carrot and the stick, you gotta love it. And certainly it doesn't make sense. Look, if you've ever been in a SkyTrain in Vancouver, just think of when you go kind of through the Nanaimo station area. This is a transit system that's been in place for almost 40 years and still, single family, low density, big yards along the route. It doesn't really make any sense. And then idea three: sell off thousands of federally owned buildings and pieces of land to be used for housing. That is a radical decision that will drive the bureaucrats in Ottawa crazy. But, it's why he's surging in the polls. Why do we have empty office buildings? Why do we have, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of land just sitting vacant? We should be using that for housing. There's no wonder why he's firmly in the lead. While an election can come anytime, but he is firmly on path to become the next Prime Minister of Canada. In good news in the energy sector, Britain's BP, they've agreed to buy virtually every drop of liquefied natural gas that Squamish's Woodfibre LNG plant can produce. Now, we've been talking about Woodfibre LNG for years and years and years. It's been in the proposal design stages. They've worked with Squamish First Nation, the city of Squamish. They've dealt with all the energy regulators, the environmental permits. It looks like we're finally getting to the point where this thing is actually going to be built. And in fact, I understand construction is already beginning on a key pipeline to support the LNG plant. So this is great news for the energy sector in Canada as a whole, and for Squamish and British Columbia if Woodfibre LNG gets going. All right, that's all I have. If you have any good news tips for me, feel free to send them to me, Jordan@icba.ca, and we'll see you again soon.